Good evening, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. This is Donnie Reese here at PSVG, filling in for host Nathan on our State of the Empire podcast. We are wrapping up Xbox's E3 2018 press conference, and boy, do we have a lot to get through. So we're going to try our best to cover all of the news. Joining me on tonight's show in the Empire is Josh. Hey, buddy.
What's up, guys?
And Q, the Lobo Rican, continuing his strong E3 coverage representation. Dude, it's like every live stream, every chat, every podcast reaction, he's here so far. Coach Mo could maybe possibly join us mid-show at any moment. He's having some computer issues, so he's rebooting. So at any moment he may pop in here. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. Guys, before we start breaking down all the news, let's just brief overview. What a really, really good, really great E3 presentation I think Microsoft had today. They brought it. Now, we can talk about all the nuances and we can get critical and whatnot, but before we even do any of that, I would just like to say that me, Donnie Reese, as an Xbox One X owner, enjoyed the conference today. It was a long one, almost 2 hours, and it didn't even bother me. That's how good the show was. I was like, you know what, that's pretty good. For as long as it is, that's pretty good. I was definitely more upset with the EA showing compared to Microsoft than anything else.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? I mean, if you like trailers, if you're like that person who goes to movie theaters and loves the pre-movie, which I do, that's what that conference was. It was all show. It was like, watch this, look at this. This is coming. And I know people get frustrated. Well, the people who were frustrated last year about the way things were presented, I don't think are going to feel better about it because they did exactly the same thing. But I think that now there's a set of precedent to this is what we're going to see. So the world premiere, it didn't bother me as much, except it sometimes it still muddled that message about what's a console exclusive and what is a timed exclusive, etc. Because even I couldn't confidently answer those questions after it was over.
Sure. Q?
I thought it was a good show, man. I mean, like I said, it will never, as a fan, it never lives up to what you want, right? Like if you could design the E3 brief, it looks in your image, right? So mine would be different from Josh's, and Josh's would be different from Mo's, and Mo's would be just Madden, and Mo's would be different from Nathan's, right? It would be different because each one of us has these things that we really care about. But overall, man, like I said, we were an hour in, and I thought it'd been 20 minutes because that's how hooked I was. I didn't even realize it was that much time had gone by. And I think when you ever feel that way, I think that's a good sign. That means that tonight, Bethesda just felt like it dragged out. And I don't want to get on Bethesda, but I feel that's my feel. And that's another podcast. But I felt like when it goes quickly and you don't realize how long it's been, I think that's a good sign. It means that you're interested and that you're not dragging through it. You are enjoying what you're seeing. So
yeah. Definitely. I think for there was a while there where the Xbox fans were hearing it from other fans about where are the games. Boy, they brought games. They had games and games and games and games and games and games. But let's start breaking it down. All right. So I've got a set of highlights that I think from the conference that we can cover first, and then we'll hop into some of these exclusives. So first bullet point that I've got, Xbox showed 50 games, 18 exclusives, 15 world premiere games. First time you've seen a game today. When we said this was a stacked lineup, this was a stacked lineup. It kind of reminds me a little bit, it just in feel to the way I felt last year with Nintendo. Last year on Nintendo's E3 post show, I said, if you were a fan of Nintendo, really what more could you ask for? There's not really a whole lot more I think an Xbox fan could ask for. I'm sure everybody will have one or two things. I could have really wanted Fable. But, I mean, come on. Gears was here. Halo was here. Forza was here. Ori was here. They just hit you with game after game after game, and they hit you with so much third-party support. So many, big... I mean, if all you played were games that they showed in this showcase for the next 2 years, you'd be just fine. Mm-hmm. You'd be just good. They've more than proved that having an Xbox is worthwhile in 2018 and 2019, in my opinion. So that was my first bullet point. I think the the highlight of the conference, what I think is the most important takeaway from the entire show, is that I would say I think Xbox has heard their fans and they've heard their detractors. They hit off with a huge announcement. They have not acquired just another studio.
Oh my gosh.
5 studios. Now, some of this, I mean, it's all to be commended, but the Playground and Undead Labs, they were already working on Xbox exclusives. So there was already like a second party relationship, but now they're in-house. The ones that really took me for a loop was the fact they brought in Ninja Theory.
That's
Ninja
huge.
Theory's first party Xbox game studio. And Josh, you're right. That is huge.
It's huge, huge, huge.
I mean, so for those of you who don't know, Ninja Theory, they did the DMC Devil May Cry game, but they just came off of Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. And I would like to think that this gives Xbox a developer that can focus on single-player story adventure games, which I've often said I think is missing in their lineup. And that's if the Hellblade thing keeps going, this should fit in real well. What do you guys think about Ninja Theory coming on board?
I think it's exciting just on the, it's one of those things that could go either way, but right now it's exciting because of coming off of Hellblade and how critically acclaimed it was, and that we saw Microsoft see it on the PlayStation, and they said, no, this is a game we have to get. Whatever they did to get it on Xbox obviously was just a very, very small taste of what they had planned. It also speaks a lot to a game company who was so successful that are willing to bet on Microsoft, because they could have said no. They could have just went and stayed on their own. They could have tried to sign with Sony. They could have done so many things. So for me, as awesome as it is to have Ninja Theory, I think the bigger thing is it's a huge it's a huge get for what Microsoft could be doing. Like, it's a big confidence vote, in my opinion.
Q?
For me, are we talking just about Ninja Theory or just all the studios?
Just Ninja Theory at the moment. We'll cover.
I mean, it's. I do want. I think it's a great acquisition. I'm all about it. I like the fact that Ninja Theory has focused on like single player narrative driven games, and I think that's awesome, which is what Xbox needs. My hope is that if you're acquiring a great studio, that you don't degrade their quality of work through micromanagement, which I'm not saying that's what happened with the other studios like Lionhead. That's not what I'm saying happened. But, like, I don't think studios just go bad just for no reason. So I hope that they're allowed to work on what they want to work and to just build good games.
Now,
so go ahead.
What I don't think is a shocking revelation, because this is what you tend to hear when these announcements happen, but the Ninja Theory team did come out and say that Xbox is basically giving them like full reign to pursue their own, direction. They're not being
watched that told, video by Ninja Theory. Yeah.
They're not being told like how or what projects to work on or anything. Microsoft just said, do what you do and let us fund and publish your games. So that's good. That's what gamers want to hear, right? We want to hear that studios get to do that. They brought on other, like I said, we said 5. So there's 2 more Compulsion Games, which makes We Happy Few, which launches in August. Now that they showed another trailer for this game. This game has been in development for a long time. I feel like I've seen this at 4 E3s in a row, maybe. And I remember played the beta test
2 years.
2 years ago. Yeah. The trailer, this may be the optimist gamer in me. The trailer made me think that maybe they're trying to bend it more back to the story adventure thing that I wanted it to be, because the survival thing that it was not what I did not like that at all. So I don't know. I'm interested in hearing what reviews have to say about this game when it finally hits proper, because the style and the story and the lore and the world that they're building is something I want to get into. It's very attractive, but that gameplay was just, I mean, it was, I always hate like ragging this game because it was early access. I know I should have never played it. I told Nathan then I should have never played it, because that's all I've done for 2 years is hate on it, because I played it for 2 hours. It was awful, but I shouldn't have. So I'm interested in looking for reviews. But they brought them in-house. So again, another like second party partnership that they just owned. And then I think the big one is that they've started a new studio, the Initiative, ground up, brand new studio. So as Xbox diehard fans, I mean, one of the things I think we hear in the console wars all the time is you're going to hear all these, Sony Santa Monica, Naughty Dog, all this stuff like here. It looks like Xbox is, like I said, they're listening. They got it. I mean, there's no bones about it. It may not be immediate reaction like this year, but next year, the year after that, 3 years from now, you're going to see the merits of this investment. This is a huge deal. 5 new studios in 1 year. That's massive. I don't know how many studios they had in-house to start with, but I feel like they just doubled their stable. Like they've never had a huge first-party footprint. They've always had a lot of second-party partnerships. This is big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was shocking. I think I can confidently say that I don't think anyone predicted them to come out. We would always chat like they need to do something. They need to bring someone on. So maybe 1, maybe 2 would have been crazy, I think, to think at the time. But to bring on 5 and quality, for the most part, we didn't know about the initiative, but quality studios. And yeah, I mean, We Happy Few, I totally got that like BioShock Infinite vibe. Like
that's what I want it to be.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they changed it completely from the preview program game that was. And I also didn't enjoy it in the preview program, but I also expected it. It seemed like they were saying it was further done than it was at the time. So if that game came out, it kind of reminds me of what happened with Prey. Like we heard about what Prey was going to be and now what the game Prey is. So, I mean, that's a good thing. It's showing that the preview program can work if they got that feedback that made them right the ship and fix what people didn't like.
Good point. Q, man, 5 new studios. How you feeling?
I feel great, man. To be honest, this is pretty early in the show. I mean, within the first hour, I want to say, right? Yeah. I don't know. He just started dropping like studios, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, I thought that was one of the probably the top 2 or 3 moments, if not the top moment of the show, was just because you really showed a commitment. Honestly, like I don't, and from my understanding of how Xbox operates within Microsoft, like Phil Spencer can't just say, let's buy 5 studios. Sorry, let's buy 4. Let's open 1. Like that's a decision that has to go up to like through the Microsoft field of chiefs. So this is approved by like Microsoft CEO. So that shows the confidence that Microsoft has on not just the Xbox leadership team, but also just on Phil Spencer, right? And for me, like the fact that they approved the acquisition of 4 studios and opening 1 in Santa Monica, that's just super encouraging. Like, I mean, maybe obviously those games are not going to come out this year, maybe not next year, but it just really shows a commitment to Xbox as a system and a platform, which is, I mean, that's just as a fan, as an Xbox fan, that's just what more can you ask for than that kind of commitment, that long-term commitment to the platform. That's just cool.
In their PR announcement, they also mentioned that Playground is basically split into 2 dev teams, and they're working on a brand new project, cool. All of which Eurogamer has confirmed basically to be Fable. They just didn't show it. But that's what the industry belief is. Excuse me. Kind of sick, folks.
No, you're good, man. You're good, man.
But yeah, I think it's the highlight of the show because, again, while it doesn't pay dividends now, with this announcement, they've kind of taken a page from Sony. It was like a very Sony-esque show, right? They gave you some things that are coming soon, but a lot of this stuff was geared towards like next year in the roadmap, and they really started to fill in, some stuff from Xbox and like get Xbox folks knowing like, here's what's coming. Look forward. Like this is going to come your way. Yeah, very, very, very awesome. Interesting, great news, big news, all that stuff. The next highlight that I pulled out of there is Game Pass updates. So we had an entire Game Pass section, which I thought was awesome. I actually never thought they'd do that. I don't know why I thought that. I kind of thought maybe they'd like weasel it into like the ID at Xbox section. I just never thought Game Pass would take the stage by itself, but they did. And Fallout 4, Elder Scrolls Online, and The Division are coming to Game Pass today. They're still not out. Right. So it might be tomorrow, but who cares? This week, right? At some point this week, you're going to get those games. Personally, I think this is a great sign and good news because we saw also in this showcase, we got the confirmation of Crackdown slipping to 2019, and more upsetting to me is that Ori is 2019. not necessarily delayed, but I was really expecting Ori to be here this year. So by throwing some of these in here, maybe that's a sign signaling, and maybe it's just me grabbing for a life raft. It looks like maybe they've got some third-party pool with Game Pass. Maybe Game Pass is getting some traction that they can get a game like a Fallout 4. And I know it's an old game, but still, Fallout 4 is a big, meaty game, and that game sells copies. Black Friday, people will buy it. It's on the shelf. Throwing that into Game Pass, I think, is really cool. Also, they added the Fast Start, which was a very Nintendo-like announcement. Hey, when you start games from Game Pass, they will start 2 times faster. I was like, okay, that's an interesting note. But what do you guys think? Game Pass, Josh?
I think it's great. I think like you, like I didn't expect them to really cover too much on Game Pass because it's kind of working for them right now as it is. So it would have been fine if they didn't talk about it. But I think if you look at how Microsoft and even like Major Nelson handles Game Pass and back compatibility, you know that it's just as important to them as it is to their fans. So for them to cover it is great fan service. And to add those games, like they had to seek out like to get the Division because the Division still sells for like $40. So you know that they were after Ubisoft to like get us this game. We know people are excited to play it, and to get Elder Scrolls, all these things are obviously led by future DLC purchases or things like that. So they're showing that value to these publishers that put your game on Game Pass, you're going to see a bump in, content, whether it's outfits in the Division or the Dark Zone stuff or whatever. They're showing value to these companies. So I think that it was awesome to see, and I'm psyched just to see everything that's coming forward in the future for Game Pass and ID at Xbox. And it still always surprises me that we're going to see these new games coming day and date on the Game Pass. That's still surprising to me, but I love it. And I'm a big fan of it because not every game is for all of us.
That's right.
There's a lot of games on Game Pass I don't love that other people are playing the crap out of right now.
That hunting game, the Into the Wild hunting game I've been playing, and it's pretty dope. I think that's a recurring theme that we're going to have as we start to break down all of these game announcements. They had a game for everybody in this. What a diverse lineup. But before we get there, Q, Game Pass, man. What do you think about these games? The quick start menu. What do you think about Lobo Rican? What is your take on the quick start in Game Pass?
I am all about quick start, man. I'm all about optimization. No, so it's cool. So I was actually watching. I went to a friend's place that's the reason why I was in a different setting earlier today is because I was at a friend's place. I went to their apartment to watch the Xbox because they were like, hey man, we want to watch it because we know you're really into this. Let's just we'll let you set up over here and we'll just watch it on the TV. So it's funny because like my wife knows a lot about Xbox just by listening to me talk. So she was explaining Game Pass to the people we were hanging out with. And
such an easy casual sell.
Yeah, and for them it made a lot of sense. It's like, oh, this is just like Netflix. Like I just pay it and I have access to this stuff. And just like Netflix, it rotates in and out, right? Outside of the exclusives, like the independent stuff, it rotates some of it, not all of it, but some of it rotates out. You get more stuff rotated in. Just like any other membership service. And for them, and honestly, like right now, the only game they have is Mass Effect Andromeda because like they are coming back into gaming and they were Mass Effect fans, so they bought that game. So for them, it was like this makes sense to me because like I don't own any games. So for me, like it's a great program for people that may not be hardcore gamers, like people like not people like Mo who buy every game, basically. People that is like, you know what, like I don't want to own State of Decay 2. But I do want to play it with people, right? I may not be a racing game person, but it would be really cool to be able to jump into Forza Horizon 4 and just race with people whenever they want to do it, even though I'm not a racing game person. So I don't have to buy the whole game. I can just jump in through the Game Pass. So for me, it's just the fact that they're investing into the service is really encouraging. And I hope the numbers are adding up on their end, right? Like I hope that this is something that they're seeing like the numbers move. Because it would make me sad if, like at the end of the day, they're like, well, we're going to cancel it 2 years from now because it's actually not moving. So I hope that the numbers are making sense and they're not just burning cash as they're moving all this stuff. So hopefully this is something that that they're seeing that is really picking up in users. So
you couldn't have given me a better segue to my next point, and that it was brief, but it was important. Phil Spencer talked about how Xbox is utilizing Microsoft AI, how they are investing and developing a streaming platform, which is kind of a trend that everybody is doing apparently. And Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot, I've never understood how to say his last name. He mentioned that at the beginning of the week that 2 hardware cycles from now it'll just be streaming. It won't be like hardware. And then he also, and this is really the point that I think is most newsworthy, he mentioned that his team is developing the next Xbox, next console. Now, that's both newsworthy and it's not, because every company is always developing the next thing.
Right.
But it's newsworthy to come out and say it at E3. As somebody who just bought a brand new Xbox One X, I was kind of hoping that the next Xbox was a little ways out. Now, that doesn't mean that my console won't be able to play those games. I don't know really where we are in generations anymore, but I think those questions are worth asking. So what do you guys, Q, I'll hit you first. What do you think about Xbox acknowledging another hardware iteration or a new console and this streaming stuff they're talking about?
I think no one more than Phil Spencer wants to get to an age where you can just upgrade systems, right? Like that would be ideal, right? I mean, I think that's what he wants. He doesn't want to have to he doesn't want to have to deal through another cycle of like, well, here's another generation of backwards compatibility, right? Like, I mean, like that takes a lot of energy out of a company. Like it takes a lot of work to keep these systems compatible with each other. So I know that Phil, in his heart, he would love for there to be like one final generation that is able to just evolve, right? But I think we're not there yet. So I mean, I think it's I don't know. I want to give it a benefit of the doubt and be like, this is an announcement that was made out of a sense of transparency with the fans. It's like, I know, we released the Xbox One X, we have the One S, we have this family of consoles, we have Xbox Game Pass, we have Xbox Play Anywhere. What is that called? Play Anywhere, Play Everywhere, whatever. But honestly, like there's another console out there, and I think for me that's just being transparent, right? It's like, just kind of brace yourself in a way, because that is in the horizon. It could be 2 years from now, it could be 3, but it's out there. So I think I respect that. I want to be kept in the light as much as possible. So, Josh,
as far as
the next hardware iteration, streaming, we had discussed some streaming earlier. We don't have to go through all of that, but you had mentioned, you were like, this is much ado about nothing. Are you sure?
My wife was sitting next to me when that he started alluding to a new console, and she just saw my face and she's like, what? And I'm like, I didn't even respond to her. I'm like, just watching. She's like, what is wrong? What are you doing? And I'm just like, oh, okay. I thought they were just going to announce a new Xbox. I was terrified. Like, I thought it was possible for sure. Like, I thought they were going to mention it. But it's nice that he kind of like let people know. I mean, people know it, but maybe there's people watching E3 that are first-time watchers or don't really have that kind of thought process that maybe they're not working on it yet. So it's good that they mentioned it. But I mean, we know they're working on a new Xbox. So we just kind of have to wait to see when they decide the life cycle's over. And then that's a whole nother conversation. Because, but the streaming aspect, I mean, we saw maybe Microsoft was ahead of its time when the Xbox One was announced. Yeah. I still think that's where we're going. But the fact that they were able to stay alive through that transition of the terrible PR nightmare that was, and that backlash from the fans, they were able to, we know that they're not the number one selling console. That could have something to do with it. We don't really know for certain. We can obviously speculate, but they survived it. And who's to say that Sony doesn't try to come back first and do the, streaming cloud stuff for the future? Or maybe Microsoft will take the lead into the next generation. But it's on their mind.
Sounds like it sounds like an arms race. Like EA snatched up GameFly, PlayStation 4's got Gaikai, Capcom's messing around with it, Microsoft's making their own thing. Like this sounds like where the industry wants to go. They wouldn't be spending hundreds of millions of dollars to get there.
Well, it's about securing tech, right? At the end of the day, like it's about securing technology. It's about securing patents,
profitability, keeping customers,
securing IPs, copyrights. It's about securing all this potential worth, right? Maybe it's not worth this much today, but give it 10 years, right?
That's why they have Office 365 and no longer Office on Windows disks and stuff. Yeah, and I know that's the way of the future. All right, I would like to say before we leave that topic that I do feel, especially maybe with Microsoft more than ever, because of their PC architecture, because of Play Anywhere, because of how much they've just adapted. Basically, everything that comes to Xbox comes to PC. I look at my Xbox now kind of as a PC, and I feel like my X I'll be able to play for 5 years if I want to. Mm-hmm. They may release something else in 2 years, but I still feel like my X will be able to play them. I don't feel like I'll be like left out of the generation. If anything else, I see Xbox as like an iterative PC. Like how many laptops do they release every year? Like they sell a whole new line of laptops every year. I kind of see the Xbox in that same mold.
Yeah.
As long as they stay the course and stay with the architecture, and we'll see how, tech may prove to them at some point that they can't, but I don't see that being the case. The games look beautiful today. Anyway, enough of the tech mumbo, business analyst mumbo jumbo stuff. That's the stuff I like. Let's get into the games. And boy, did we have them. Mm-hmm. We have 3 new Gears games coming. Now, we've got one called Gears Pop, which you couldn't have convinced me in a million years that was a thing. Basically, is a mobile title that lets you play as Gears characters, as Funko Pop characters. That's really all you need to know. It's all I really took away from it. Then there's more interestingly, there's this XCOM Mario Rabbids like PC title called Gears Tactics. It's not coming to Xbox. It is Windows 10 exclusive. They did mention in their PR. Looks really good. It does look like Mario Rabbids. Like it's got the slow-mo shots and everything. It's turn-based, team-oriented stuff. If they tell a good story, if I read a review that says it's good, I will play that game on my computer. Mm-hmm. And then Gears 5, which is probably my personal highlight of the show, maybe between that and Ori. I liked Gears. They gave Gears room to breathe. You could definitely tell like there's a lot. Yeah. There's more to Gears than some of the other titles in their pipeline. They gave it a really long cutscene. You saw the whole team again, JD and Marcus. But it looks like we're starring as, or it's not even look like we're starring as Kate. She's going to go on her journey. She mentioned, something's happening to her. If you guys play Gears 4, no spoilers, but yeah, there's a whole thing there with the Locust and all that. And I'm super excited. I think, as I mentioned on our live stream, I think Kate is the perfect character to build a trilogy around. I didn't mind JD. I know a lot of people did when Gears 4 came out. They didn't like him. They thought he was bland. That's fine. But she definitely was not. She was the star. Her storyline basically was woven throughout Gears 4. She's the perfect person to pick up and run. So Gears came in droves. They brought it. We got Gears everywhere. Where you play on your phone, your PC, your Xbox, doesn't matter what you're doing, you're gonna be playing Gears. It's worth mentioning Gears 5 was dated for 2019. Mm-hmm. So it's not coming soon. Lobo, Gears, man, coming back.
I'm so pumped about Gears Pop, man. I mean, I'm gonna grind. So I swore like a year ago that I was never gonna buy a Funko Pop in my life, and then I started buying the Star Wars ones, and then I bought the set for Dragon Ball, and now I own like 20 of them, and I'm so embarrassed by the fact that people know that I went back on that promise that I would never buy from. No, I mean it's cool. I mean it's for me. I see Gears Pop as a generational fandom. Like your 9-year-olds should not be playing Gears of War 5. Like that is like, it's a rated M game, right? I mean, ideal, some parents don't care, but it's mature, it's another stage in violence, but they can play Gears Pop, right? So for me, it's like, hey, let's build some younger fans so that then like in 5 years they can jump into, Gears, the main series, I love Gears Tactics. I love those kind of games. I'll probably play that game. I mean, I love that kind of like it's like it allows me to just lay back and make, it's not like intense like first person shooter like I'm constantly having to like react, Twitch reactions. Gears 5, I think you're dead on with the female lead here. For me, one, I love Marcus Phoenix. I think Marcus Phoenix is awesome. I think right now he has that Han Solo, personality going on where he's more like a mentor, kind of stepping back. My issue with Marcus Phoenix, 6-7 years ago, is that he felt like another Master Chief, in the sense that, yeah, he's rough around the edges. He curses more, sure, but he's still this big super Marine dude kicking butt, right? But for me, like a female lead for Gears would be amazing, because suddenly you kind of like draw some distance between this super Marine male Master Chief and this different angle to another, military shooter Gears, right? With a female lead. And for me, that's awesome, because for me, you're diversifying the genre, you're diversifying the lore, the canon. And for me, that's great, because it makes the game more appealing to another generation, right? Like I have no doubt that in the next 2 to 3 Comic Cons, you're gonna start seeing, is it Cade, right? The girl, what's her name?
Yep.
Cade.
Cade Diaz.
Yeah, you're gonna start seeing way more cosplays of her, because she's gonna become this like icon of like Gears of War, And for me, that's awesome. That's so cool. That instead of having Marcus Phoenix as the icon of Gears, you have her, and she has this whole cult of fans built around her. That's super cool, man. And I'm excited for Gears. To me, this says that 2019 is gonna be packed. Because if Halo, I'm sorry, I don't want to jump ship, but if Halo Infinite and Gears 5 are lining up for the same year, that's a packed 2019. I mean, we don't even know if Halo is lined up for next year, but I'm just saying, like if they're lining up all these games for next year could be a huge Xbox year, right?
Yeah. So you're right. I think Kate could be Xbox's version of Aloy. It very well could be. Josh, man, all this Gears news, you stoked?
Yeah, I mean, can we just address that they just dropped Of War and they're like, we hear
you.
It's just Gears 5. We hear you.
Yeah.
Like that's them listening to the fans. Something even simple like that. Mm-hmm. It's just like, this is how people talk about our games. We're just gonna embrace it. Mm-hmm. And something that small really speaks volumes. And I think if you look at the evolution of Gears, like even from the first Gears, like where you have these superhuman characters, even from Gears 4 and 5, where they're toning it down to more realistic portrayals, but still strong characters, I think that speaks a lot to the evolution of the story from Gears of War. Because not that the story's always been good, it has been, but this is like an evolution of players, not just the game. So what they showed, like, it doesn't look like what you would expect a game that's far away to look like. It looks like this game is like, they don't just make games in levels, like in the middle of a level of a game. Like this game looks like it's well into development. So we might be seeing like a March, April release for Gears. It could be. But even when I watched IGN cover it a little bit afterwards, I think I was in such an awe of it. I didn't even like catch some of the stuff. I thought they were showing new footage on the IGN, and they were just replaying the Gears 5 footage. And I was like, I was like, wait, I did see that already. It looks great. Like, I thought it looked awesome. And like when she's grabbing that like face sucker creature and just shooting it, and like you could tell that was like an in-game animation. Like one of the few games where I didn't necessarily doubt that if it was in-game or touched up CG, it looked like it was actually happening, like someone's controlling it kind of thing. So I was very impressed. I was going to be pretty disappointed if it was just Funko Pop Gears. I thought that was really funny the way they set that up, though. Like, because people went nuts when they saw the Gears thing, and then you could hear people feel weird when they saw the pop thing come out of the wall. They're like, but it was cool. It looks fun.
I was on the stream. I was like, "There's no way they do this and not show Gears. Like they have to. There's no way they don't do this by itself. That'd be.
They're trolling us on purpose, man. They know that there's people like me out there about to like rip their face skin off. You know, it's like no, man, don't show me this. It's like, oh, and I know you were like, this is not it. This is not it.
I was trying to calm. I was like, cool.
You were chill. And over here, I was melting my face. I was like, Why? Ah, man.
Gears was like Fable and Gears. That's my stuff. Like but
Yeah.
getting more into your guys' stuff, I'm gonna take a back seat here. Halo Infinite was shown. They kicked off the show. We saw dinosaurs, we saw a warthog. They mentioned a new engine. I in a way to attempt to make myself sound like a Halo fan, it looks like they're trying to call back to old Halo, like Halo 1, Halo 2, kind of. At least in some way, but I don't know anything about Halo. Josh, tell me about Halo Infinite.
Jump on this first or not? I got a couple things to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
So just to give you guys, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I actually don't know, Josh. How much you're into Halo, Donnie. But for you, it's like
what? Take a breath.
Okay, I'm sorry, man. It's like. So there's if you go into the trenches of Halo fandom, there is a battle between people that like the more modern look of Master Chief, which is the one that you saw in Halo 5. It's like a more bulkier, darker green kind of thing. And then there's like a traditionalist, hardcore that is like, no, if you go back to Halo 1, Halo 2, Master Chief used to be like a smaller dude with a slimmer armor. And it used to be like a lighter green, not this dark, kind of like camo green that he has now. He looks like a tank now. He used to look more like a soldier, right? So if you look at the green that they show in the armor for Master Chief, is that lighter green. So and like the armor is less like battle plates, like armor plates, and it's more like a streamlined, like kind of like power suit. So basically, like just in those small frames, from my angle, that was a shout out to fans who have been saying, hey, the art style of Halo is becoming a little bit way too Spider-Man, Iron Man's power suit, and it's going away from what Master Chief used to look like.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
So that is a shout out to that. For me, I really don't know what this game is, man. Halo and Infinite. During the Bethesda thing, I was making fun of the fact that Doom is called Doom Eternal and it's called Halo Infinite, and how it's like those two names sound a bit alike, Some people are saying this game's gonna be like an open world shooter. I don't know how I feel about it. I guess that's kind of like what the original Master Halo was, right? You kind of rode around in the Warthog, like exploring the ring.
In the Xbox OG day, Halo was open world. Like that was what an open world game was.
Right.
Yeah.
And it slowly transformed itself into this kind of like, not fully like a tunnel shooter, but it still had like very restricted, areas that you could access. Halo 5 was very vertical, right? You could go super up and way down, and it gave you a lot of freedom, but you were still stuck in this like arena sort of. You were going from arena to arena as the missions moved. If this game if they can bring the quality of a Halo 5 combat and mechanics to an open world like Halo Combat Evolve, man, this game is going to be amazing. And if they're developing, and I was reading the Halo Waypoint press release that they're building this engine just for this game. And I hope this is a good engine because I'm excited. I'm excited for what this game can be. So yeah, that's what I got right now. So,
Josh?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty ballsy for them to open the whole show with Halo right off the bat. Like, I think maybe not ballsy, confident. It's very confident because that could have just been the stinger, right? They could have just done that whole. And one more thing, it didn't have to be Cyberpunk. It could have been that.
Spoilers.
Sorry, but I will say this. It's pretty. I don't like the title, but I don't think I would like that title on any game. I just don't like that infinite, eternal, like he was saying. Like I don't want to say it's unimaginative, but it feels like that. Like they could have maybe brainstormed it for months and they're happy with the title, but just feels unimaginative. Just like if it was like Halo 6, same like in my head. But I think the thing I'm most excited about is Slipstream. What is it? What can it do? Is this like, can this be like the next Unreal Engine, or is this just going to be an engine for Halo? And what is this Halo? Because We saw rhinos. We saw maybe dinosaurs.
Has there
Who
been
knows?
dinosaurs in Halo before? I was going to ask that because I only played 1 and 2, and I don't even remember. I don't think I ever saw a dinosaur.
Not dinosaurs. I think there's like hinted at larger creatures, but I don't ever
Yeah.
think we saw one.
In Halo Reach, there's a mission. It's called like a sniper mission at night in which you face these like massive creatures that could be dinosaurs. I mean,
Okay.
there's alien life does exist in Halo. It's just they've never like made it a priority to show you alien life. You know,
Yeah,
that it's like wildlife. But yeah, it exists. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like what Hugh was saying about Master Chief. I think that it is like going back to his roots. It's not like the 8 foot tall, 500-pound hulking Master Chief that soldiers like literally have to look up at. Because yeah, Halo 1, he was the same size as everyone else fighting in the battles, and he was just a stronger, better leader. And I think that's what made him more of an icon. Because anyone can be big and strong. That doesn't make them a Master Chief. Like Master Chief is like you. He is the same build. He's, but he's just that much better of a soldier and a leader. And that's what makes him mythical and legendary. So I like that they're hinting at going back to that. But who knows? It could just be 343, like the color scheme better. So we have to wait a little bit, I think, to see how he stacks up against other soldiers and stuff like that.
I did think the demo was pretty. As not a diehard Halo fan, I will say that whenever I hear any developer saying that they're building a new engine from the ground up, it's probably a long ways out, Q.
Yeah.
I'd be tempering any of those 2019,
For
possibly even 2020 expectations. This may be a 2021 game. It could be. And, speaking of engines, like Uncharted has like Naughty Dog has like their engine, and you can almost like recognize it. Maybe this is that. Like an awesome proprietary engine that Microsoft can share in-house. Speaking of games that are coming out, though, this year, Forza Horizon 4 was unveiled and shown. It's set in Britain, not Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole industry let me down.
That's Forza Horizons 5 is Japan.
Yeah, I don't want to hold anything against this game, but I've been told for 6 months from 3 different credible outlets that it was set in Japan, and to see it in Britain, I was like,
a sheep, Donnie, sheep.
It features dynamic seasons, and by meaning of that, like as you're driving, like the season may change. So like you may be driving in Forza and it like just becomes winter, not you go to the winter mountain to race on snow. It just starts snowing. I thought it was cool. It obviously was gorgeous. We all know it was going to be. Runs 4K 60, just like for Forza Horizon 3. New to the Forza series, because Forza Horizon 3 is my favorite racing game of all time. I wanted more Horizon things in the demo. I saw a lot of racing, which is fine. Not what I play Horizon for, though. I want to smash signs. I want to find cars. I want to make jumps. I want to do crazy stunts and speed runs. I didn't see any of that. It was just a lot of racing.
We saw the hovercraft.
I did see the hovercraft, and they had some dune buggies, and the dune buggy scenes look awesome. And I'm sure that stuff's there. I will start following coverage as we lead up to launch more closely just to make sure. I'm sure it's there. That's why that is Horizon, right? I've only played the one, but from what I understand, that is the Horizon series. It has all these arcadey stuff in it. Yeah. And then the last thing that I had with Forza Horizon 4, I just completely lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. Josh, go. Forza Horizon 4.
So when I was watching the trailer, honestly, I'm with you. I thought it could have been Forza 7 for a little while, because they kept showing, I think, the McLaren, and they kept showing all these fast cars, but just flat out racing. And then once they went off road, I was like, okay, this is definitely Horizon. And yeah, all the Horizon games, you're like racing trains or planes, or these like crazy things you would never see. So we only got a little glimpse of that, but I really like how they added that group challenge.
That's what I was going to say. Yes.
Whereas
yes,
like Team XP, like you get everyone's racing together and you're accruing this like Team XP, so everyone can contribute and share like development in a game. And that stuff on the ice looked incredible. Like I can't wait to get on a frozen river and race in between like mountains, like with like there was like 12 other cars with that. It looked incredible. So I really am very excited, but I think I'm most excited that it's coming out relatively soon.
October 2nd
Yeah,
is the release date.
that's not that far away.
And this should be a really good point to remind everybody that this game launches in Game Pass. So and
Yes.
Game Pass is half off this week, like everywhere. You can get it half off at Best Buy, half off at Amazon. I personally bought 2 years worth of it, and I thought about it for a minute, but I mean these games are going to come eventually. And think about this in a different light. 2 years at half off is $120. That's 2 full price retail games. So for $120, what would normally cost me to buy Forza and Ori or Forza and Halo, I get every Xbox first party game plus any of these third party games that they drop in, and these indies and the indies that we're going to talk about launching for the next 2 years. If anything, I told Kevin, I think I texted him privately in our DMs. I was like, I just covered us on Game Pass for the life of the Xbox console. Like the Xbox One, we're good. Until the next console launches, we get all this Game Pass. So it's $30 for 6 months or $60 for a year, which is half off. That's a sweet deal.
Yeah, don't forget, they'll still drop games like The Division and Elder Scrolls and Fallout. They'll still be dropping that stuff. And in a time where we can't realistically, which I think they talked about, afford or
play all these games.
To play all these games, you now have this way to do that. Even if you just want to casually, like I played Technomancer and Wasteland 2 last week because I was excited to hit Game Pass. They weren't for me, but I got to play them. I got to try them.
Yeah,
I got that experience without having to go to Redbox and forget to return it or subscribe to GameFly and get charged all these fees. You know, I get to try these games, and they take away some, just like Netflix, and then they add more, just like Netflix. So you're always getting new content every month.
You know, I have a question about Game Pass that we can. I want to ask you now because here's what I was going to tell you that I have a list of games I'm looking at, and if any of these come to Game Pass, like Game Pass is going to be worth it. But I noticed one. Does We Happy Few launch with Game Pass?
I don't.
Because it's an exclusive. It's a system exclusive.
Yeah, when they were doing all those games like that little ID showcase, they were showing on certain games it would pop up saying coming to Game Pass.
Okay,
but I didn't notice.
We need to check that
if it was or not.
And either way, if it doesn't come at launch, I'd imagine that at some point in the next year we'll probably get We Happy Few at Game Pass. Yes. I would hold on We Happy Few either for amazing reviews or until Game Pass because I'm just a little lukewarm on it. But anyway, we're jumping the gun here. Ori, The Will of the Wisps got a trailer, and it looks gorgeous, and it sounds gorgeous, and it's everything that I want to play. And I got overhyped on the live stream, if you didn't see, because they had this tag that you saw periodically through the thing where, this was the first title, I believe, that either I noticed it or I think it was the first title where they mentioned it, but they had this little tag that would run across the bottom where it says launches in Game Store and Xbox Store. And they ran that, and my Twitter feed lit up that Ori was out today, and I lost it. I was like, oh, I'm going to blow off the podcast. I'm playing Ori for the rest of the night. So I got to tell you, I was a little bummed out 5 minutes later when everybody was like, nope, false alarm, it's not out. And then I became worse when it's not even out this year. Like, this was the one that I was penciling in. I wanted Ori this fall. Like, I was thinking in my mind, Game Pass can be amazing if I get nothing else but Forza and Ori. And now I'm just getting Forza. Ori has been delayed to 2019. I will continue to scream from the mountaintops that if this game was on another console, it would have huge fanfare. This is such a PlayStation, Nintendo, not like game, but like type of experience. You know, this would be, Ori is like Xbox's Celeste or PlayStation's Journey. Like the Xbox fan should trumpet this game. It deserves it. I'm really hoping that Ori, the definitive edition, comes to Game Pass soon because I played Ori on Steam and I would love to play it again while I wait for the successor. But dude, I'm so hyped for Ori. The trailer was just, I mentioned to Mo in the live stream, I was like, you thought Unravel was gorgeous.
I know, right?
Ori is, I don't know what it's like, the perfect art style for me. It's so beautiful.
Yes.
Any thoughts on Ori, you guys, or did I cover it?
I mean, for me, it does look absolutely gorgeous. And like once again, like this is not a game that naturally appeals to me. It's not like my zone of expertise. But once again, sitting with my friends today, people in like for half the crowd, like we had like 6 or 7 people. This game, they were like, this game looks amazing. So for me, it's like it goes back to having that diversity of portfolio, right? Like you want to have Halo, you want to have Gears, you want to have whatever, and you want to have Ori because there's people that love this game and will invest a lot of hours into it. So I mean, the fact that honestly, like it looks absolutely amazing. Like it's not my. I can say like I can admit it's not my game. I will play it. It's not my niche. But I can still admit that it looks really, really awesome.
The first one looks good. Actually brought a tear to my wife's eye when we were playing, and I beat the first chapter, and the first chapter hits like an emotional low, and like she legit, and I was like, "What's the matter with you?" She's like, "I maybe I'm just emotional today." Like it got to her. I was like, I can feel it. Oh, Ori's so good. I continue to be happy to wait, but man, I really wanted it to be this year.
Yeah, well, it'll be worth it. You know, I still have confidence that if they delay that game, it's to make the game better, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. The other giant highlight, I've got 2 more giant highlights before we start breaking into more games, but they close the show, guys. Cyberpunk 2077 with an awesome, like, that's it for the show. That Cyberpunk, you've been hacked, takes over. Great surprise. Code starts running across the screen, and I found out later via Eurogamer, shared it in our Discord. The code actually had like hidden messages. So it had like question and answers like one question was like, are we gonna have to pay for DLC? And like their response was, it's a single player game. Are you crazy? It was like stuff like that. When will we get to play the game? Like when we're ready to show it, like we're ready to show it. It was
when it's done.
Stuff. There's a hidden website that they have that you can sign up for. Like if you could figure out a passcode, like it's all kinds of deep. But what we saw was a gritty, dystopian, Blade Runner-esque, giant Witcher 3-like RPG game that's just got to set so many video gamers like on fire. Like personally, I was so much more inclined to jump into this than Witcher just because of the setting. You know, like the Witcher thing, I was never like, I didn't grow up with the Witcher. I didn't play any of the old ones. Even I tried the Witcher 3, but the old Camelot, like the night thing, I'm done with that. But this I'll definitely try. What do you think about Cyberpunk, Q?
I have been waiting for Cyberpunk. I have been bragging to friends about Cyberpunk. I've been telling friends, hey, you need to look for you need to look forward to Cyberpunk. Like this game is good. This game is gonna fill a niche that is missing right now. That's not been filled in gaming for a while. I still don't know a lot of what this game actually is gonna be like. You know, like how much freedom you're gonna get. How is the combat gonna be? I feel like we saw a lot of maybes and a lot of potential, right? But I am down with the story. I'm down for how cringy it looks. How kind of like it's edgy, right? This is not your 9-year-old sci-fi. This is a game that is made for like an older crowd, a more mature crowd, and I'm excited for that, man. I'm excited for a sci-fi cyberpunk game that really pushes I don't know, like storytelling limits and stuff like that. I'm really excited for this game. Like this game has to really bomb for me not to buy it. It has to really, really bomb. And I mean, the fact that it's being developed by CD Projekt is huge, right? Like, I mean, that's a huge.
They have so much fanfare right now. Like, they can do no wrong.
They get so much. They have so much street cred that it's like, man, like you could like throw me a rock and I'll be like, can I put this in my Xbox? You can say, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. It goes in my Xbox. You know, like I'll buy that. You know, like they have so much cred. I am really excited for this game. Sci-fi is my natural niche. That's where I love to play. That's where I love to be. And for me, this game seems like a good balance between some comedy, you know, some lightheartedness, because you know there's some lines in the trailer that are kind of lighthearted, and also like a really cool genre. Because I also what I don't want, I didn't want another like Deus Ex or Deus, you know, it's like a very dark.
Yeah, that's a good point to make.
It's like a very, very dark sci-fi, punky. That's like we don't need another one of those. I want somewhere that you can live in between.
Like the whole androids are gonna come take over human dystopian. Like that story's been told a lot.
Yeah, it's like let me live in a world that is not on the edge of collapse tomorrow.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I feel like I don't know if y'all, Josh and I, every game today was like the Earth is like effed. You know, it's like
Yeah.
every game is like that. Like we're screwed and we're on the edge of extinction.
Yeah,
Whatever.
this was more like a Ready
Yeah.
Player One vibe. It's kind of like, this is just society. Let's go live in it.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like the
that's
world's
your
not
point.
gonna end if you fail this mission. You know, it's like things are okay. A crime lord may get his way, but it's not like society's collapsing if you don't build your super armor. You know, it's like, okay. And I feel like, okay, that's fine. Like so many games just push the storyline to make you feel like every moment is incredible. And it's like, just let me live in this world and have fun with it. And I feel like that's what Cyberpunk is. And I'm really excited for this game. And I know a lot of people that are looking forward to this. And that's really cool. And I'm glad that we saw it on Xbox because we saw it first on Xbox. And for me, that matters.
That's huge. Josh, what do you think about Cyberpunk?
I mean, it looks great. I definitely like immediately got a Ready Player One vibe, especially when they showed that kid playing the VR headset. But yeah, I couldn't get into the Witcher games. I tried, so I'm gonna wait till I see a little bit more about the game. I'm definitely interested in it, and I know they've been working on it for a while. And I think the studio is incredible for what they can do. You know, with what they have. Props to them for everything they've done with the Witcher series. Just wasn't a game series for me. But yeah, I mean, as far as the theme, it's like Shadowrun. It's like futuristic. That I mean, the name is Cyberpunk, but it's literally the Cyberpunk theme. So I think it's great because we don't have a lot of, especially console games that are in that universe. So it's going to feel new to pretty much everybody. Which is great for that game and that company as well. So bring it on. I'd love to see more. I can't wait to see what they have to show.
The last thing I'll say about it, that's how you close a show. That's textbook. Huge, heavy hitter, first time reveal, associate your brand with it. I mean, it wasn't that it was unexpected. We all expected, Cyberpunk to show up on Microsoft stage. They had a really good close working relationship with The Witcher. I'm just happy to see that it continued. That type of loyalty, I think, it's you don't find it much in video games. They go where the money is, and right now the console market isn't with Xbox, so that says something about that relationship between that studio and that company.
Right.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, so I've got some ID at Xbox games that we're going to read off, but first, before I do that, because I don't want to get them mixed up, Microsoft and Phil, basically said that he has 18 exclusive games that they showed today. They did not release that list. I could not find a blog that was like, here are the 18 exclusives that they released. Their PR announcement only mentioned 11. So I tried to find them. This may or may not be right. These are definitely all exclusive. I just don't know how they're counting them. I found 19 exclusives in the showcase. So I'm going to read them off. Halo Infinite, Forza 4, Tunic, PUBG, Battletoads, Black Desert, Cuphead DLC, Ori, Crackdown 3, Gears 5, Gears Pop, Gears Tactics, Sea of Thieves, Below, Ashen, The Outer Wilds, Waking, Session, and We Happy Few. If you count the games that are already released that they showcased, I got to 19. Without counting PUBG and Sea of Thieves and games that are already out, I think I only got to like 14. So right. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly. Whenever they start putting numbers on it, like gamers they'll attach to that number. I don't think it really matters. But before I announce the ID at Xbox points, I wanted to mention that I believe Ashen, Below, The Outer Wilds, and Waking are exclusives. At the very least, timed exclusives. Bomber Crew and Ashen launching Game Pass too. So that's also worth mentioning. Going back to that Game Pass, so like we're going to get brand new indie games at launch. And Ashen and Below, for example, are games that we've seen for a long time that I would say are, highlighted indie games. These are games that I've been looking forward to for a while. But Xbox hears you. They hear you. You need exclusives. You need exclusives you can argue over. You need exclusives that you can prop up your console on. Like you want to play Call of Duty, Battlefield, Anthem, but you want exclusives, and they're trying to get them to you as fast as they can. They brought in 5 new studios. They've got Halo. They got Gears. We think we've got Forza. We think we've got Fable and all of this other stuff. big announcements. But back to the ID at Xbox. They did an ID at Xbox showcase. They did a little sizzle reel. Here's what we got: The Outer Wilds, After Party, Warhammer, Fringe Wars, Below, Conqueror's Blade, Raji and the Ancient Epic, Super Meat Boy Forever, The Islands of Nine, Sable, Harold Halibut, Bomber Crew, Children of Morta, The Wind Road, and making its second debut to my eyes, Wargroove, which is a game I've been following since the Switch launched. I still have no idea when that game's coming. But whenever it comes to wherever platform it's on, you should buy it because
Advance
I
Wars.
like Advance Wars. Yeah. Because we're all Advance Wars fans and you should support games like that.
Is that your whole list for ID at Xbox?
That's the list I have.
Because I have Kingdom 2 Crowns, French Wars,
I don't have those.
Planet Alpha.
Wow. I took this from the
Generation
Zero release that they gave us.
Dead
so.
Cells, and I think you already said Ashen.
Yes.
I went through the trailer and I paused it every 2
Ah.
seconds, and I got every name out of the trailer.
Look at
So
Microsoft. Ball.
So those that I added were like on the trailer. Now I don't know how they classified those within the ID at Xbox label, but those were presented as part of the showcase for ID at Xbox.
So, do you have any that you want to talk about? Any that you want to prop up? Like, do you have one that I'm absolutely getting this to the top of my list?
For me, ID at Xbox is what I play when the AAA games are either boring or they are just not in season.
Yeah.
Right. So like during the summer, right
Like
now,
filler when it's slow times.
between I don't know what the last game that I bought is, to be honest. It's been a while since I bought a video game. Since the last game that I bought, and I'm guessing October, I'll be playing a lot of ID at Xbox. Like my biggest ID at Xbox game right now is Deep Rock Galactic. I love playing that merge of like dwarves with Left 4 Dead with like mining expeditions. That is awesome. Out of this list, I'm really looking forward to After Party. Not only because it's on the Game Pass, but because it looks cool and it looks like it have a really cool story. I'm all about adding more strategy games to consoles. So French Wars seems to have that like EVE Online kind of like, you manage your ship and you go on missions kind of thing. I think that looks awesome. Conqueror's Blade is like a mix of RTS and action combat hack and slash. That looks pretty cool to me.
Yeah, that one looked really good. I remember that one now. Now that you say that, that was the one that had like super high production value for what I would consider an indie game. Now that looked like dare I say, like a AA, not an A title, but like a B title release. Like that was pretty awesome looking.
Islands of Nine also looked pretty good for an indie game, and it's supposed to be a battle royale game. Yeah. But it looked pretty like it looks you can look at a game and you're like, that gameplay looks polished, right? I don't know if it runs great, but at least at plain sight it looks good. Like window shopping. And Bomber Crew, it just feels like 30 minutes of fun. It's like you throw it on, you play around for 30 minutes, and then you get off, and then 2 days later you jump back on for 30 minutes. So that kind of gameplay looks really cool to me. And obviously Wargroove. Honestly, like I don't know if I'm gonna buy that on the Switch or on the Xbox.
Depends on if it's Game Pass or not.
Right.
If it's Game Pass, I'm not buying it on Switch.
It could depend on the price too, because if it comes out with a major sale on Xbox,
sure.
Like I said the other day, I was gonna buy Overcooked. Overcooked was still $25 on Nintendo, or no, $20 on the Switch. It was $5 on Xbox One. Yeah. And I was like, oof, man, like sorry, like I just can't beat that. It's like I just gotta buy it on Xbox. So for me, like those are games that I like. I love ID at Xbox. I'm always hunting for those indie games that I can just invest 15 to 20 hours into for like, between $20 to $30 or less. That's for me, that's a pretty, I like finding a good game, an indie game. That is awesome. Like
you're the community, like cultivate something that they tell you to play. Like that's why the only reason I bought Celeste is because of the fanfare it got.
Yeah.
The moment I saw it, I was like, I'm never going to play that game. And I'm playing it right now because just so many people keep telling how good it is. It's fun when you hear like a success story. I understand that. You took all my points. I was going to say Wargroove and After Party. So we'll just kick it to Josh. Anything you'd like to add to the ID at Xbox Sizzle Reel?
Yeah, that first game you mentioned, I already forgot it. If you watched
Outer Wilds.
on the Outer Wilds. If you watch
Outer Wilds.
on the bottom of the screen on Mixer, that was one of the games included in the Mixpot.
Ooh.
So you're gonna get that for free if you watched it on Mixer. Tunic really just took all the attention away from everything for me.
Zelda Fox.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know what I was looking at right away, and then
Well, Caroline and I did.
kind of just
instantly
sucked me right in. Like as soon as I saw him like cut through those bushes,
Mm-hmm.
and then how like the level design was from everywhere else you went, it looked incredible. So there was a bunch of games that looked good to me. Was After Party the one that was like claymation? There was like a game that you were playing in the claymation universe, but you couldn't really tell because the level design looked like photorealistic, but the characters were all claymation. That looked cool. The thing I love about the ID at Xbox games is there's no two games that are the same.
It's true.
So you have so much of a different options, and I was just blown away that they were popping up with those included in Game Pass little pop-ups. So honestly, I'm excited to try every single one of those games that comes to Game Pass. Mm-hmm. And if I don't like it, okay, not for me.
Yeah, I'll try anything that comes to Game Pass. You're right. If it comes to Game Pass, I'll try it. No. Well, I think that's enough. That's good stuff, man. All right. I've got a list of games left, and then we'll give our final thoughts. Man, there's so much in this conference. Like, I'm trying to get us out of here. We're like over an hour, and I've got 20 games we haven't even talked about yet. They're still here. Like just a deluge of news, a flood of stuff. All right. Batch 1. From Software showcase Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, this samurai game.
Oh,
looks pretty awesome. Now, From Software is the Dark Souls folks. That immediately turns me off. You say Dark Souls, I'm like, nope. I don't. It didn't look that bad though. Like when I watched it, like it didn't look hard.
It's like I don't enjoy sticking my hand in burning oil, so why would I play this game?
It's funny that like so many people are going to the Shogun Samurai thing all of a sudden.
Right.
It's like, did they all like get together and have a meeting and decide to make a bunch of like, we had Neo, and then we've got Ghost of Tsushima, and now we've got this Shadows Die Twice. Like, where is this resurgence all of a sudden? I feel like we went 4 or 5 years without Ninja games. Everybody decided to make Ninja games again. Mm-hmm. Fallout 76 got its first trailer. We have since seen more about it, but that got its first trailer there. Square Enix showed the new game from Dontnod, which is supposedly in the Life is Strange universe. I don't really know what that means or how it connects to the other characters. Spirit, right? Yeah. I'm interested, but it's called The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. It comes out in June 26th, and it's free for everybody. And they made a bit like free, not like free to try. Like it's just free. Like go play the game for free. That's incredible. Like who does that? That's weird. So what do you guys think from the Samurai game, Fallout to Square's announcement? You got anything else you want to add?
Josh, you want to go first?
I think the Samurai game has a stupid title, but I think it looks good.
Fair enough.
It looks interesting. I thought it was Tenchu the whole time we watched the trailer. And that takes nothing away from the trailer. I just thought it was. It looks really cool, and I'm interested to check it out. I guess it really just depends on when it launches and what's coming out right around the same time.
I heard a lot of like in the Mixer chat, because that's where we watched it. I saw a lot of Onimusha like guesses. A lot of people thought
I could
that
see
was
that
it.
Too, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna like this game, Sekiro, or not. I love samurai. I used to be a samurai geek when I was growing up. I thought they were the coolest thing in the world.
Q, do you own a samurai sword?
I do own a samurai sword.
I'm not surprised.
It's getting harder to justify owning it because in living where we live, there's not a lot of room to put crap like that. But it's like, I don't know where. Yeah, man, it's awful. But I mean, for me, even if I play this game and it's not, it looks cool, to be honest. It looks cool, and I'll give it a shot. Even if I don't like it, for me, this game appeals to the Japanese artistic style, borderline RPG people, like people that love that stuff. And one thing alongside this announcement, one thing that I saw a lot in this Xbox brief was heavy JRPG presence. Like a lot of those games making their way to Xbox in a way that last year they weren't there. Those games were not there last
generation. Like
and suddenly they're I mean, maybe they're not that many. They're maybe 5, 6, 7, but that's still like a significant
100% more than you had in the last.
Oh my gosh, absolutely! And for me, that's like, hey, that means that Xbox is working hard to get those developers to give a crap about the Xbox, right? So for me, this game looks cool. Even if games like Fallout 76 and, you know, Captain C, even if those are not exclusives, the fact that they showed up at Xbox first, that means that they were saying, hey, they convinced these developers to be like, hey, show them here, right? Even if they show up tomorrow at PlayStation, they showed up here first, right?
Well, if they show up tomorrow at PlayStation, then the immediate reaction will people be like, oh, I've already seen this.
Right, right? And that happened even tonight. Like when we saw the Fallout stuff, like immediately Kevin was like, it's the same trailer, you know. It's like, and it pulls the soul away from like your show
going first.
Yeah, and to me, like just having those trailers in the Xbox brief, that's a win, even if those games are not exclusives. So,
anything else, Josh?
No, I think we covered everything I was thinking about, at least for what is it, Node 1? What did you call it?
Yeah, we still have a bunch. Man, there's so many games. Hats off, Microsoft. You go, Phil Spencer. All right, the next batch of games we'll read off. I'm gonna start with we're gonna like a positive and a negative sandwich. Sea of Thieves got showed. It's getting 2 new packs. One of them's coming in September, called The Forsaken Shores. I have more or less written off that game. But they also showed Kingdom Hearts 3, which is coming to Xbox, which is, I mean, it's a big get. They made a mention as first time Kingdom Hearts is on Xbox. So it's a big deal. Nier Automata is coming June 26th, just like the Life is Strange game. Nier Automata is incredible.
Did we know that was coming to Xbox? Because I didn't.
I did, yes. They announced that it was going to come. They announced the date earlier this morning. I knew it was on the way. I just didn't know when, but it's been out for PlayStation for a year. I've already played it. If it came to Game Pass, I would play it again, only because this is an interesting game. I only played the first campaign, and to truly beat the game, you have to play through it 3 times. I just didn't have time. I was like, I'm not going to do that. If it came to Game Pass and I could play without spending any more money, I would probably go back and try to do it again because it is super fun. It is a really good game. One of the most underrated games of last year. It's worth mentioning, though, when it comes to Xbox, at least at launch, it's digital only, which is weird. Like, yeah, I mean, I think that's a little weird. Like, that's something that I've grown accustomed to hearing, like in Nintendo world, but not in Xbox world. And then Crackdown 3. Crackdown 3 was shown. It got a trailer. It was confirmed. The Kotaku, the Polygon reports that came out before E3 is confirmed. It is 2019. I don't know if this was always the case or not because I don't have my ear to the ground as much, but it was confirmed that Sumo Digital is working on it. Is that new? Like, have they given this game to, or have they either given or contracted a new developer? I thought this was internal. And then all of a sudden, I've heard of it, that's the first I've heard of it too. So I'm wondering if they just got brought on. The game looks different. I did not think it showed very well. I was not very impressed with what I saw. Outside of like, there was a lot of slow-mo, and I'm wondering if that's because they didn't want to show what it looked like in real speed. And because when they did kind of speed it up a little, it didn't look great. And I was wondering if, like, because there was a lot of things in slow motion. Like half the trailer, I felt like it was in slow motion. So there's a lot of Terry Crews. So a huge Terry Crews fan, you go blow some stuff up. I still want to hold out hope, but guys, I gotta admit, I'm out of faith. I mean, we've been talking about this game for 3 E3s, and it's been delayed. This is the 4th time it's been delayed? I don't know. I just, it doesn't feel like a good thing. Maybe it'll be awesome, but it's just like, I feel like if you're going, this game's gonna be amazing, I feel like that's just pure hope at that point. Like, there are no signs pointing you in that direction. There's no evidence of such. It's just desire. So, another batch of games, man. Nier Automata, Kingdom Hearts, Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3. What do you think, Josh?
So I never played Nier. I always wanted to. So Xbox One X enhanced, that's a good selling point for me. And 15 days from now, also a good selling point for me.
Yeah.
So that's good game. That's great. I have the Xbox conferences on again on my TV, and I just watched the Kingdom Hearts stuff again. I look forward to playing that with my wife. That'll be fun. The Sea of Thieves thing is on now. not interested. And it really soured on me that they already removed the Megalodon content. It was timed, which that screams bad to me. Like, whatever. Like, that would have been a reason for me maybe to get back into the game a little bit. And now you can't even play it. So it is what it is. I'll just let it ride itself. I do think it's interesting they're adding skeleton crew ships, which could make ship combat a little bit more exciting. It is on Game Pass, so maybe one day if people are like, we're gonna play more Sea of Thieves, I'll give it another shot.
If I hear a big update, but it's got to be something big.
Yeah, it's not something that I really care too much about right now. As far as Crackdown goes, for me, I loved Crackdown 1 and 2. It just looks like a more Crackdown 1 and 2. I got no problem with that. I think they tried to make it too much of a Old Spice commercial because they had Terry Crews. It seemed like that's what their goal was to do. The yelling, the screaming, the over-the-topness that is Terry Crews, which is fine. I don't necessarily think we even saw anything in-game in that trailer. I think it was just something they made up, and who knows when they made it up. Like,
sure.
Is it with the new company? Is it a new company? All I know is it's been delayed. It's fine. I'm still going to get it on Game Pass.
That's true.
So I don't think that they're looking at an audience outside of Game Pass right now because of the delays. However, Game Pass could turn that with the word of mouth into either more Game Pass subscriptions or more sales for Crackdown. I think we just have to wait and see. I'm going to hope for the best, but if it's more Crackdown, it's a win for me because I just love that series.
Q.
So.
I don't know. I mean, I think I agree with Josh. Like, I didn't see anything new today about this game. I think I heard the only new thing was that there was more Terry Crews. There was more screaming and yelling. Yeah, very much the Old Spice feel or the Brooklyn Nine-Nine feel to Terry Crews. For me, I'm gonna put this game on a bookshelf, and when it comes out, I'll be excited for it and I'll play it. And yeah, it'll be on Game Pass, so that's awesome. But I'm just not gonna worry about this game anymore because I think they're on their own timeline. And I mean, yeah. So I don't know what else to. There's no point.
Yeah, there's no point
in saying talking anymore about it. I mean, obviously they hit a lot of bumps along the road, obviously, and at least if there's a positive light to it, they decided to push it back rather than release a piece of crap, right? I mean, like, I guess we should be thankful that this is not a garbage game that we're like, what is this? And that if they're delaying it, it's because it's not good enough to release now. So at least, I mean, if there's a positive way of spinning it, that's the only way to spin it. So
that's a good point. I think Microsoft is trying to get what they can out of it. I mean, there's no faulting them. They've more than invested into this game by now. Mm-hmm. Like, they're probably not going to get their money back. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make it as good as they can. All right, next batch of games. There's so many games. All right, Metro Exodus. We happy few. PUBG got a trailer. Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition got announced. The Division 2 was shown first. Set in Washington, D.C. Comes out in March. Metro, by the way, comes out February 22nd. That's a hot date. Shadow of the Tomb Raider got a pretty good little trailer, much more than I expected. And then Skate, nope, not Skate, was shown. It's called Sessions or Session. Yeah. It looks like Skate. This is a really good batch of games. First and foremost, Metro looks awesome. That game just looks great. It's got great appeal visually. They showed how you can like swap out all kinds of customizations like in real time as you're aiming down the scope. It's a Eastern European thing. It looks really good. I'm interested in that. We Happy Few got a really good trailer. We'll see what that means for the game. The Tales coming over. Tales is coming everywhere. It's worth mentioning. It's coming to PlayStation Switch. But that trailer I think means a lot in the Xbox showcase because Q's already mentioned those types of games are missing in the portfolio. The Division 2 suffered from the gamer chat that everybody whined about, but it still looked great. Fighting on Air Force One in Washington, D.C., trying to get to the Capitol. And Shadow of the Tomb Raider looked great, actually. And I'm not a Shadow of the Tomb Raider person. And like, so much from the story of like her, screwing up and unleashing this thing and having to like go back, like that kind of got me more than I think any other, like, I'm trapped on this desert island. Now I need to go mow through hordes of people to get off of it. Like that kind of got me a little bit. I was like, man, that actually might be worth checking out. So man, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider is coming out this fall. Just what a list of games, and this is not even it. I still have another batch after this batch. This is a great batch of games. Also worth mentioning that skate game session didn't get anything. Had like a little trailer of him rolling around, did like a little ollie, and that's it. They turned it off, went right into the next trailer. Nobody came out and said anything. Nobody talked. We don't know what it is. If it's exclusive or not, we have no idea. It's just that's it. It was just session. Yeah. Or it's timed exclusive, right? I believe it's console launch exclusive.
Console launch exclusive, yeah.
So what do you guys think? Metro, we happy for you, Div, Session, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Q?
Happy Few looks awesome. A lot of my friends connected with that game today. I just kind of had this dystopian, obviously another dystopian game, right? Just to follow that trend. Society's falling apart. I mean that game. I mean the alpha came out for that, not alpha. The preview for that was out a while ago, right? It's been out for a while, correct?
Yeah, 2 years,
2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that game needs to come out. Tales of Vesperia, not my game, but once again, I agree. Adding to that portfolio, PUBG. Okay. PUBG's awesome. It's great. I just okay. Hey, look, man, it's a console exclusive.
Oh, that was exactly what we said in the stream, right? You're like, we've never seen PUBG look that good.
In Session, I don't know what this game is, dude. It was such a random presentation. They showed me like 10 seconds of guys skating around. As far as I know, this could be a game about people and skateboards doing drive-bys and like robbing
open world skating game.
Yeah, like this could be anything. This could be like anything at all. But I have no, I don't even know what Session.
Man, like Session soundtrack is good. I'm in.
Is Session even like a skating term? Because I don't know what that means. It's like
yes,
it is a skating term.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I did not know that. That shows you that the marketing is not aimed at me for this.
He does samurai swords, not skateboarding. Got it.
Look, yeah, that's accurate. I own more swords in my life than skateboards. That is very accurate. I don't know. Did I hit everything on your list?
Yeah, Josh.
The Division 2.
You're in?
That's it. I mean, it looked incredible.
It does look good.
Alana Pierce, if you follow her on Twitter, she kind of hit. She did make a comment that I thought was funny that I felt while watching it. They did that same voiceover thing they did for the first Division trailer, where it's like pretending that it's 4 people talking to each other. But really you never see that experience in the game. But besides that, they've taken everything I love about the Division, made it prettier, made the gear system look already better, like right away, just from some of the bosses you see that may not even be bosses. They're just like heavy geared dudes. Like it looked great it was really funny because they were like, it's in DC and you open in what you perceive to be the jungles of Africa. And then all of a sudden you're just coming out of a conservatory. So how much it can transform in between 2 areas. Really, it just looks great. And I'm hoping that what we saw represents what the game is going to look like and not one of those over-polished kind of clips. Because I kind of felt like that was a little bit Metro, was a little bit less gameplay and more trailer. So I think really I'm excited about all the games that we were talking about, but for that grouping, the Division 2, I've been just waiting to see more. So I'm actually really looking forward to Ubisoft as well.
Yeah,
but I was just kind of it wet my palate. Like I was like, I want to see, and so I want to go play it now on my Xbox, the Division 1, just to get that.
Beta signups are live.
Yeah, I already signed up just to get that out of my system. I want to go play some more Division 1, just because it just gave me that ready to get into it kind of feel.
Oh, and by the way, I'm definitely playing the Division 2. I forgot you mentioned that one in this roster, Donnie. That's no, like I have a list of my stuff I'm most excited about right now. Anthem, Halo Infinite, The Division 2, Cyberpunk, and what is that? Gears Tactics.
Nice.
So yeah, man, like yo, I'm sorry, that escaped my mind. The Division 2 is definitely getting played, at least until I get angry and I start ranting about how the game is not good. So
all right, last batch.
All right,
finally we've made it. I feel bad because as the MC, I feel like I'm rushing you. We're almost 90 minutes and we're just talking about like their show, like so many games.
Yeah.
All right, Black Desert online MMO. Devil May Cry 5. Cuphead is getting DLC in the form of Miss Chalice. Jump Force, which unites all this manga, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto stuff. We'll let Q cover that better than me. Battletoads totally just got announced. Like, that's it. Just Battletoads. The logo for Battletoads. We saw nothing about Battletoads at all. Just Cause 4, which I think had leaked before. Square mentioned that's coming. And then probably I was really excited to see this. Dying Light 2. You guys know on the podcast, because you guys have been here with me. I got into that game when the collector's edition came out and really fell in love with it. It was one of my favorites. And if you watched our live stream, you probably saw me light up. Me and Mo were kind of jonesy about it. The parkour in that game is spot on. It looks as good as, like, when you see them in trailers, that's not like a really good, that's not that's how you can play the game. Like anybody, like that's how it feels to play that game. It's awesome. So those games all were announced. Devil May Cry 5 looked really, really good. I was happy to see that came. I totally think Dante looks like Cody Rhodes, which you'll only understand if you're a wrestling fan. But when I say go Google that later, it's the Cody Rhodes, and then look at that trailer. It looks just like Dusty Rhodes' son. It's very funny. It's like they ripped him out of WWE animation or something. But I'm all down for beat 'em up, smash 'em up. Devil May Cry, like the Bayonetta feels we're running deep, so that's good. Another different type of game to throw in there. But really, my highlight of this group, and one of my highlights of the show entirely, was Dying Light 2. I thought it was really neat, and I don't even know if it's something I wanted. I'm hoping this is something I wanted that I didn't think about. But they're going like this Fable, infamous direction where the way you play the game, the decisions that you make, how you treat other people will bend the world. So like if you want to be good and suppress order, then that's cool. But then like maybe your civilians won't like you as much because they're being held down as much. And it's like the strive for balance. If you go bad and you start breaking all the rules, doing your own thing, then you invite other worse people to come with you. It's interesting. That game I already thought was a really deep game. Like Dying Light, I didn't ever finish it because it was so deep. Like the idea that they walked on stage and they're like, now we're gonna go even deeper. Like it's almost like off-putting. I'm like, man, how long does it take to play this game? Like 400 hours? Like you just gotta really invest into Dying Light. But anybody that sees it, if you're interested in that stuff, I mean, Dying Light was really, really good. Josh?
Yeah. There were so many games that you mentioned.
Read them off again. Black Desert, Devil May Cry 5, Cuphead, Jump Force, Dying Light 2, Battletoads, and Just Cause.
All right, so I think the Battletoads thing was really funny because in the trailer they specifically said, calling out crazy unspecific like things, like they were making fun of themselves.
Broad generic terms.
Yeah. Jump Force, not for me, just because as much as I do like anime, everything in that is from animes I never got into.
Oh, okay.
So, but I totally get, unless they add like Alphonse and some Full Metal Alchemist characters, that could get me into it. But Dying Light 2 is intriguing. So I liked Dying Light. I didn't love it, but with that new system, so like the Fable 3, one of the only good things in Fable 3 system.
I like Fable.
I like it, but they really messed with the Fable. It's just like they really messed with Fable. They messed with my Fable. Okay. So I did like how you could change depending on the decisions you made. Your world literally changed around you, and it wasn't like one of those Telltale games where your decisions don't really affect the outcome so much. These games, it looks like it's really getting affected. So it actually turned me from, if they just announced Dying Light 2, I probably wouldn't be interested, just because it was just a game for me. But the fact that it has that system to it actually turned me more onto it. So I'd be more likely to try that out. yeah, we happy for you. We'll still see what happens, and then everything else. I don't know. It's just everything's exciting. I'm not gonna Cuphead. It's
Cuphead too hard for me. Yeah.
Too hard.
Okay, this is way too hard for me. I need an easy mode.
Yeah, I just like to look at it. Even easy mode's hard. I just like to look at it. It's nice looking. I'm glad that they're adding more content to it. It's definitely something that deserves more of a spotlight because of how much work they put into that game. So more power to them. I'm glad that I was surprised to see it, and I'm happy about it. So great, but too hard for me. So I'll just watch from afar.
All right, Q.
I'll just touch the ones that I have something to say about because obviously that's a long list. Black Desert MMORPG launch exclusive. That's really cool. I'm cautious about whether the Xbox is powerful enough to sustain that kind of gameplay and make it look good and feel good. What was that game? Neverwinter.
Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah, I mean it played okay, but when you had a bunch of players, the game was like really laggy, and it took a toll on the system. So yeah, hopefully a system like the One X and the One S can better handle a game that is supposed to contain a lot of players. It looks great, honestly. And I have friends that I never get to play games with because they only play MMORPGs, and I don't have any of those games to play. So I would love to get them in on this game and have something to share with them. Jump Force. To me, Jump Force is the opposite of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dragon Ball FighterZ is supposed to be this tactical, competitive tournament-style fighting game, that people like just become, experts and strategists at. Jump Force is anime fans like stupid dream where you're like, oh man, I wonder would it be like Naruto fighting Goku. This is what this game is. This is a game for people that just want to have those crazy stupid fights between your favorite anime characters on Shonen Jump. Super Saiyan Goku versus Sage Mode Naruto. Stupid fight, but guess what? It's gonna be fun, and I think it's gonna be cool as long as they it's not a buggy game. And finally, Battletoads. I think it was 2 E3s ago when Phil Spencer walked on stage wearing a Battletoads t-shirt. And so people have been like talking for 2 years about how this game is being in development. I think it's going to be funny, and I think it's going to be kind of like, just like Josh said, it's not going to take itself too seriously. So, I'm just excited to see what that turns out. But, it's not going to be like a game changer. It's just going to be a fun, tribute to the old Battletoads. So, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we made it through the show. That's how many games at Microsoft brought to the show today. Wow. Just an incredible, it's an incredible, again, you wanted to, I think there are nitpicks, and we're about to get into that you can make. But they're just nitpicks. Nobody could be upset with this lineup. No other conference has ever really done a lineup like this that I can recall. Typically you get, 3, 5, 6 maybe first-party games, throw in another 4 or 5 third-party games, and that's a wrap. They have 50 games. This is like just a deluge of news. That's why this podcast is so long. This is me rushing. I'm trying to get out of here. Yeah. Josh, your favorite, most anticipated game, and just your final thoughts on the state of the Empire.
Oh boy, my favorite, most anticipated game. There was so much we saw that looked awesome, but
just one. Q, you hear me? Just one.
Has to be Forza Horizon 4. And we knew it was coming. It was like nothing I expected. And they didn't even show us the big stuff that's in Forza Horizon. So we know there's so much more to come. So just the thought of we only have to wait a few months and it's going to be on Game Pass. I don't even have to save up money to buy it. I'll save my money for the DLC.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. I'm so excited.
I like the smile in your face when you say Game Pass. I'm with you. I love Game Pass. Game Pass is amazing.
And yeah, the conference was a huge win for Microsoft. And I immediately went to Twitter and got discouraged because people are like, whatever.
You can't do that to yourself.
They got nothing on Sony. So I'm done with that. Like, Microsoft is my first. Mm-hmm. This conference was awesome. I loved every second of it. There was no downtime, realistically, with the exception of a couple of developers talking. It was everything that we wanted and everything they needed to give us, while I'm sure still holding things back for Gamescom and Tokyo Game Show and holiday season. Like, they got more coming, but this was awesome and I loved it. And it has me hyped for the rest these next 3 days of conferences. I'm just in the best of moods now. So good on Microsoft, and I'm happy to be an Xbox fanboy again.
Q, your favorite, most anticipated title in the State of the Empire?
I mean, I the fanboy in me betrays me, Donnie. Halo Infinite. I mean, I wish I could, you know, betray myself and say something, but I just, when I saw
a demo of an engine.
Yeah, I mean, it told me nothing, and yet
I love it, man.
It made my heart sing. You know, so definitely. I mean, that game could come out in 3 years, and I'm still excited because we saw Master Chief's helmet and him holding his helmet, so that meant something to me as a fan. The conference itself, I mean, yeah, I could always say this, that, but honestly, like, people say, well, a few years ago they said, well, it didn't show enough games. They showed like 50 games, right? Like, they showed tons of games today, so you can't say they didn't show games. They also did not have these awkward moments that EA had, where it was just people talking awkwardly. I feel like the transitions were very well done. So yeah, you showed a lot of games, and yet you had that human interaction, which was not weird. It was actually very well, like, rehearsed, and I feel like it was really well done. State of the Empire surging. I mean, 5 studios, right? I think Xbox is in a good spot, and maybe this fall won't be a massive, a huge lineup this fall. But I think it's setting a standard for maybe next year in the years to come. So as a fan, I'm excited. So yep.
All right, I'm gonna try to do Nathan proud here as I wrap up. My most anticipated game of show for Xbox is Gears 5. I really think Kate stepping into the role as the main protagonist is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's huge. It lends more emotional story into Gears, and I think that's where you were kind of going, Josh, where they can kind of branch off much further than I think they ever could with Phoenix, and it's time to lay that to rest and take Gears in a much better direction. So super excited. The State of the Empire, I would say, is better than it's ever been, at least this generation. It's never been this good. Just a shotgun blast of games. There's no lack of software that you could want. And you say this fall is lackluster. It's not. Still have Call of Duty, still have Battlefield, still have Battlefront, all the third-party games, Tomb Raider, all this stuff that's coming. Red Dead Redemption, which I've already pre-ordered on Xbox. I think the one nitpick that you'll see on Twitter, stuff that Josh encountered, you'll see a lot of people go, a lot of these games I can already play on my PlayStation. That's true. You can't play them as good as they can be.
Right.
They run better, they play better, they look better on Xbox. Like that, yeah. They have that power advantage, and you can argue that it doesn't matter all you want. I think gamers have often proved that it kind of does. Like, power matters. Like, I love watching Far Cry in 4K is incredible. I have been so won over. If I can play it on my Xbox, I want to, because of the 4K. Unless it's like a portable title, that's where I want to play it. And man. What a great E3. Like, I was thinking about that afterwards as you guys were, I was going through the notes, and I was, prepping as everybody was watching Bethesda. I was going and trying to make my notes for this longer than I ever wanted it to be podcast. And I'm just like, it's just like so many titles. And I know they're not this year. And I've been in the past, I've often, I've killed Sony for showing us a bunch of games that don't come out. And I still would like Crackdown to have hit this year. I would like Ori to hit this year. Ori kind of hurts. I really was looking forward to playing Ori soon. But we also understand that, like, with Crackdown, that's not the timeline's fault. That's just the development of that game has been in hell, right? It's nice to see that they're bringing in these other studios. And again, back to the main point, this entire conference just showcases that Xbox gets it. If you didn't think they did, if you thought maybe they didn't know, they know. Yeah. They get it. They've got it. It may not happen this fall, but it's happening. That day is coming where they step on stage and they go, here's 8 exclusive games from first-party Microsoft studios that are dropping in the next 24 months. That day is coming. It's coming a lot faster than I think we think it is. And to think that we still have, games like Ori and DLC for Cuphead, like we have something to get us there. It's not just barren wasteland that it was. And I think, I got a lot of flack from you guys, even on our own team last year. Mm-hmm. I do think last year was barren. Like it was a barren wasteland of first party. Last year was like Forza and Cuphead for like the whole year, right? Outside of like indies. This year it's not that. Right? We've already had State of Decay. Right? We've already had Sea of Thieves. They're getting new DLC. They're getting new stuff. We're gonna get Forza. We're gonna get more Cuphead DLC. We're gonna get all this other stuff plus all the third-party games that are coming. Like, it's good, man. What a healthy system. Just what a awesome conference. So I keep coming back to it because that's what I want every conference to be. They don't have to be all 2 hours. I give you that, but I mean, they just walk on stage and just hit you like just right over the head with game. And we say it all the time. It's about the games. It's about the games. Well, if it's truly about the games, there's no way you could be upset about this conference. They showed you a bajillion games you've never seen before. I mean, there's no hate to throw here. It's fantastic. They did a great job. So with that, again, signing off for State of the Empire on behalf of Nathan, my name is Donnie Reese. Find me on Twitter at Playin Nintendo. Ain't no G's in Playin Nintendo. Josh, tell the lovely folks where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Josh Bones, and listen to my podcast with my awesome showrunner, I'm going to call him, Kyle. It's Bored with VG, or Bored with Video Games, if you like, on the PSVG network. And that's Bored with VG on Twitter as well. BOARD with VG.
Thank you.
Yeah, play with me on Xbox at Lobo Rican. So I'm on all the time. Not right now because we're podcasting. Today, this week is going to be awful because of E3.
I haven't played anything in days.
Yeah, I won't play a lot this week. But hit me. You just add me and we'll play some games. So,
and this episode is up tomorrow, which will be Monday for you listeners. So we are live streaming. If you're listening to this and you download it in the morning, we're live streaming Square. We're live streaming Ubisoft. We're live streaming Sony. We're live streaming Nintendo tomorrow. Like we're covering it all. We have live streaming and podcast reactions. So go to our YouTube, youtube.com, PSVG podcast, and ring the bell. You'll be notified when we go live. But boys and girls, if you've made it this far, thank you. But remember, never stop gaming, and tune in to PSVG for all the news coming out of E3 2018. Good night, Koopalings.